Ma'am, you can start. Hello? Hello?
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone who is right now hearing me out, listening me out. So mute yourself, switch on your videos. These are the common phrases you might have heard each teacher using it. I am a teacher, so good morning, everyone. This is SADAF RIZVI. I am an English teacher at Poda International School CI Kalyan, MISA facilitator for Cambridge Primary English, and freelance teachers as well. Today, I'm here to share my story, what this pandemic has done to me. And as it is rightly said, each black cloud has a silver lining. So my story resonate with this idiom, this phrase as well. Talking a little bit about myself, I am into education industry since last 10 years. After completed my post graduation in literature, English literature, I moved on to do B.Ed. Followed by I started teaching in one of the college in vicinity. Next, I took a job in school. I started teaching 9th and 10th standard for a couple of 3 years rather. Followed by I am teaching in Poda International School for 5 long years now. And I have learned, I have actually grown over this years as a professional, as a teacher. So I'm really glad, really humbled. I have a lot of gratitude towards each person who has contributed to whatever I am today. Now, March 2020 was something the entire world was dooming dark because of this coronavirus. It was very uncertain, unpredictable that the entire world was stacked at home. Your economy, daily routine, movement, everything was still. There was restrictions, there was lot of rules and regulations applied, but the most the industry that affected the most was education industry, education being the extremely important factor in any of the students life. When this pandemic started, there were lots of ifs and buts in the minds when I was actually about to teach students. How will I do? What will I do? How will I communicate to my students? Will my student understand what I'm trying to tell them? Will they be able to get my teachings, my topics, my activities? Will they respond to me well? So there were many questions at the onset of this pandemic. But a teacher, I feel, is very adaptive. Even I quickly adapted to the situation. Apart from all the cons of this coronavirus, the health issues, the lot of the conditions across the world is not good, but this coronavirus has grown me professionally. I realized my own potentials, capabilities, and trust me on that. It has given me impetus opportunities in my career to bloom and to come forward in front of you. And today I'm here sharing my experience with you. So, with all those questions in my mind, I started my online teaching. Now, before the year starts, you have a set of planning done. Okay, so this month, this needs to be done. This is how the planning is done. Every teacher here will resonate with me, will agree with me. Since pandemic came, the entire planning was at toss. Every day was a new day for us. Okay, even though we were working from home, but the number of hours that we were allotting was increased, because each day we had some different challenges to face. Each day was very different than the previous one. So what solution I applied the previous day, today I have to think of some another solution. With this ups and downs, I started my journey in pandemic of teaching. Now, me being a primary teacher, my grade 1 students, which just entered the school, they were really not aware of what is happening with them. They are not connected with school. They haven't seen teachers. They haven't entered the school premises yet. They haven't yet gone through the books. So how? They were very curious, very baffled as well. Parents were also very baffled what to do. There were messages, calls, phone call, WhatsApp, too many things from parents. Obviously, they are also very baffled, nervous. What will happen to my students' studies? What about this year? But slowly and gradually, I'm glad I got a very good support from parents and students as well. I will quote a small incident. I was teaching something and I was doing an activity, and there was one student, ma'am. I'm talking from here, but still that student was ma'am. So this kind of things in starting little bit became a hindrance to the instruction pattern was absolutely changed. The way of communication needs to be molded, the way of delivery of lectures needs to be molded. Lot of technology came into pictures. Luckily, I'm very grateful that I was technically sound enough. Now, this pandemic, I'm thankful for various many reasons. First being, I got chance to relearn, upgrade my skills, and reach to the students. I got more connected with parents. So, along with teachers, even parents got involved in the education of students. They were equally involved in daily lectures, what was happening, how was happening, how to do it. There were queries from their sides. We were 24/7 available for their queries. So this is how collectively my parents, my kids, and I as a teacher have managed to go through this pandemic. Now, slowly and gradually, I started doing a lot of research in R&D. Now, being aware of various technical websites and tools and utilizing it in your lectures is one different thing. Which tool will be suitable for your topic? Will your students be able to adapt as per the tools? Will your topic be in accordance with the tool you have selected? This was actually a planning and challenge for me. There were many tools available in hand, but how to incorporate that tool in my subject, in my teaching and learning process, required a lot of planning, lot of understanding about the things. Will that particular tool which I'm going to use, from be a Padlet or Kahoot, there are many tools that are available online. So slowly and gradually, I started giving instructions. The first few sessions required really great instructions from my end as a teacher to students and to parents as well. So right now I was dealing with students and parents who were in my class now, actually seeing how their students teaching and learning process takes place. Once we are comfortable now, by the time it was I guess April, I was comfortable with this online situation, and grace of God, my students responded excellent way in this way, in this pandemic. Now the task in my hand was how to make my sessions interactive and that students get what I'm trying to tell them. So I started using various methodologies, various techniques. I started listening to various webinars. I started doing my own R&Ds. So the teaching period was what, 40 minutes. But to make that 40 minutes successful, the searching part, the R&D part was more. I developed my own ways of techniques. I developed my own methodologies, instructions for communication. I developed my set of instruction that students need to follow, and I make sure I repeat them in my sessions. Thereby, they become used to this particular online virtual class learning. Now, I started taking various activities, and it involved, I started collaborating parents as well in my lectures. They were also equally involved in these activities. Students were also involved equally in this act. So it was actually a collaboration between teachers, students, and parents, and I started building such activities more, which became which resulted in a very great way for me. Now, slowly and gradually, the assessment pattern also changed. I had to really work on assessment pattern as well. I started searching for different assessment criteria, different ways of assessing students. Again, technology was very really handy and a savior in this pandemic. And it is technology is here to stay. Now, being a teacher, I need that my students understand and get what I was trying to convey. So each day I tried to dapple the situation, and my adrenaline level was high when the net was not working. And thousands of questions were in my mind. What if my net will go off? What if students are not able to understand me? But the situation, touchwood, was so nice that students cooperated with me. We came across various techniques in the classroom as well, that if I am somehow not available, my virtual supervisor, that is one of the students, will come forward. They will be helping others to maintain the discipline and decorum in the online lectures. So this is how we dappled with the situation. Now, in this online pandemic, I started learning various things. I came into contacts with thousands of teachers across the world, and I felt I am just not the one. There are many around the globe who are dappling with the situation, who want someone to hold them, someone to tell them, someone to guide them. And I have WhatsApp groups of teachers across the world. I started sharing what I do in my class. They started sharing what they were doing in their class. This is how entire teacher fraternity came together in this pandemic and helped each other. So this is the giving of the pandemic. This is what pandemic has given me, a good network of people, good network of teachers. Today I'm connected. I don't know how many teachers I'm connected. I'm sharing what I'm taking in my class. They are sharing, oh, okay, this is good in my class, this worked best for me. And I share in my those words, okay, this worked best for me. So this is how sharing, taking, and giving of the things went across this pandemic. I started attending various webinars. I started learning from them. I started sharing my lesson plans with them, because planning became a very important factor when I'm taking online lectures. And sometimes whatever you plan went to toss because of X reasons, then you need to be ready with some other thing. So this is how this entire teaching fraternity came together to fight with this pandemic. Now, talking about me, I started using various methodologies, techniques, my own research R&D, various tools, techniques I brought into usage. My grade 1 students to 9, 10, higher grades were able to dabble with technology, but the difficulty level was at lower grades because they were new to the technology, this form of learning. They a little bit took time to get settled with this way of learning in comparison with the traditional way of learning. But slowly and gradually, with the support of the school, management, parents, I was able to come at a situation where we were good to go on this online platform. Now, it was the day in April that I was struggling and, trying to see which topic will be best suitable, which technology, which tool will be best suitable in this particular topic. And as I told, I was technically sound, but for me, the major task was how do I make my task interesting, and which tool should I pick to make this a particular topic interesting and that my students understand. And on that Zoom lectures, Google Meet lectures, I molded my way of instructions as well. We conducted a lot of activities which involved a lot of physical movement in the home. In fact, I still remember we doing activity where it was a collaborative activity where students and parents have to come together, collect some stuffs, and put on the videos and talk about it. Then there was also, I did various activities which required collaboration with them, with their family members, with their siblings, and thereby, come online platform and thereby discuss with each other. So communication become very important between us. Now we have various. I have my peers, which also really helped me across this pandemic. Their suggestions, their perspective about each thing has really helped me in this pandemic. Now, slowly and gradually, I started giving I started giving whatever I can to my peers, to my teacher community on WhatsApp across the world. Uh, in fact, I I tried to use various innovative methods so that my content is really reaching to my audience. So it was a lot of connection, collaboration, cooperation that came into the picture for me to successfully conduct this online classes. Now, dabbling with all these things, I was actually trying to look out various websites, various ways to handle students, to understand them. Communication became important, counseling also became very important factor. It was very much requirement of the time that as a teacher I was available from my students 24/7. There were messages, there were calls. Now I'm not understanding this, what to do to guide them, to tell them how to go about it. So this one good thing is the collaboration between each and everyone has increased. My lessons were also observed by the leadership teams as well. And by the grace of God, I got really very good remarks on that. And uh, I was also given the title by Collins publication, the path breaker of the pandemic for teaching and learning process. The kind of methodologies, I was given this title by Collins because the kind it was a combination of blended learning. Even though we were online, I make sure in my lecture they are physically involved. There were lots of a little bit of learning, lot of physical activities plus lot of handy activities, online activities which I made students do, which really resulted wonderfully with me at least. Each passing day in this pandemic was a new learning day for me. I learned a lot of things in this pandemic. I have grown as a person. Slowly and gradually, the opportunity to become a facilitator in MISA, members of International Schools Association, I was called over there to facilitate group of 100 teachers. The Cambridge English primary curriculum, how to mold on an online platforms. I I it was a 1 day workshop. I trained almost around 100 teachers over there how to embed your English primary curriculum in with the help of technology and thereby teach to them. So even various teachers, I also gave training to the teachers about various tools to be used, how to use it to the best maximum of its usage. I also, in fact, I still remember one of my senior teachers suggested me this way. If you're so good in these all things, various technology, there are many teachers who require this help. Why don't you start it? So this added a different dimension to my personality, to my career as well. And I thought, why not? If I know something, why am I not sharing this with my teacher fraternity? So I started taking webinars. I started connecting with the people, telling them how to go about it, how to teach it, how to use technology, how to embed technology in their daily teaching and learning process. I started them making learn how to use a particular tool, for that matter, Padlet, Google Classroom, then Flipgrid, then you have Quizlist. I started taking webinars on all these things. So this gave my career also a different direction. So this is what pandemic has given me. I never realized that this is also what I can do. But my fellow teachers made give me that if you're so good in this whole thing, why not give your bit to the teachers who are in very much in need of all these things? So I started facilitating teachers. I started taking webinars. I contact various groups as well, wherein I could give my knowledge to the people, and probably they might can use it. Even I started attending various webinars. Okay, because as a teacher, it is very much requirement you be a learner for your entire life. And this pandemic, whatever we have learned till now, the traditional method of learning, it was completely a different ball game. Even I have to relearn, upgrade, again, mold my entire way I deliver my lectures, my words, my communication, everything I altered as per the requirement of the students. So this is how I started my journey as a facilitator as well. I started, various teachers contacted me. Okay, if you can tell me about this, how to work on Zoom, what are the features on Zoom, how to utilize this particular thing. I started giving my knowledge from my end to them. And in this process, I also learned a lot from them. uh, Various tools which I was using, I started sharing with them. After a lot of R&Ds and research, I was able to successfully conduct my online lectures. So much so that I used to get messages from students, teacher, I just loved your session. I love that activity. Can we play that activity again? Can we do that again in some lecture? I started getting this particular messages from my children. And believe me or not, this really acted an motivating factor for me. The feedback that I received from my leadership team in my school, plus my fellow mates, my teacher fraternity, and my parents and teachers. So after this feedback, I got to know, okay, I am on the right track now. So students are really loving what I'm doing it. And that was the day I was like, okay, fine. Now I am comfortable with, and students are comfortable with me now on online platforms. So with all these things, we were comfortably now sailing on online platform. Uh, I started my facilitating as well. I started my career as a facilitator. I am a freelance teachers trainer. I started training teachers for various technological involvement in your daily teaching learning process. I became part of many organizations. I started giving my bit to them, and I realized that knowledge, when you share, when you give, it really can make a difference in someone's life. The way it has made difference in my life, I have learned impetuously from my colleagues, from my friends, from my fellow mates, from students as well. I still remember a day when my higher grade 10 student said, ma'am, if you do this way instead of doing this way, it will be great. And I said, oh great, it can be done even this way. So students has also made me learn so many things, as students of this generation are very much techno savvy. Before we as a teacher know, they already know many things. So I involved students. I made them as a center. I learned many things from them as well. And it was a great learning process. It was a lot of collaborative, integrated learning, inquiry based learning that I focused more on. And I preferred more to be child centric class rather than teacher centric class. I was a facilitator over there, and the activities, the thinking part, brainstorming part, I use various technological help like mind map, mind layer, to bring that sense of interestingness and liveliness to my classrooms. So really, this pandemic, this technology is really a savior. Now, coming towards the month of I guess September, November, August, September somewhere. Uh, I I was my school decided that to give me a title of path breaker of the year, and that again acted as a very much motivating factor again for me. The students feedback, the parents feedback, their involvement, their collaborations with me, the kind of communication we were having, continuous communication, I will say, each day. They were having doubts, I was available for them, they were accepting, they were ready to cooperate with me. This is what has made me sail through this pandemic. And when I received those title, I realized, oh, I have done it. And each teacher out there who is going to listen to my this, you are the warriors of this pandemic. You deserve to be a warrior. You deserve that kind of applause, a salute to each teacher who has battled in this pandemic, changed. I understand there were many teachers who were not able to cope up with technology, as still now the traditional pattern was going on, but still they have wonderfully managed to come across this with the flying colors. They have managed to sail through it. And I'm really grateful to people, the teachers, the teaching fraternity, my peers, my leadership team, each and every one who have contributed me to become what I am today. Having said that, my family, they were really a great supporter for me. Even though we were working from home, it requires me to sit in front of my laptop for hours and hours. Because to give that 40 minutes lecture, it was really very important for me to plan my sessions very, very well. And for that, I needed to give that much of time to my planning sessions. So they have also really helped me out. I made my own sitting place, my own space where I used to sit. Then I have to give instructions to them as well, please don't come now from this time to this time as my sessions are going on. I started i started using a lot of things available at home in my classes. So I cannot go outside, definitely students cannot go outside and do activities, so I started utilizing whatever is available at home in my activities. I started giving them life experiences, activities which they can do from their home itself. And students started loving that. They started enjoying that. And one fine day, if I didn't conduct the lecture or my lecture was not scheduled, then I used to literally get message, ma'am, today your lecture is not there. We are missing it. Can you please send us that game link which you have sent us? We want to play that game. We want to solve that activities. So now that students were telling me on the online plan, ma'am, please do this. I was like, okay, they're enjoying. They are enjoying. They're learning whatever my aim is, my agenda is for them. So this is how this pandemic has given my career a different dimension, my personality a different dimension. I have grown as a teacher in this pandemic. I have become a part of various organizations. So this pandemic is has been a really fruitful for me as a teacher, as a human, as an individual. And I hope whatever I can give from my end, I have tried my level best to give to the students and people around me, my peer, my students, and they have wonderfully responded me. I started enrolling myself for various webinar courses. The intention was not to get certification, but to learn some. I became greedy for the knowledge. I wanted to learn every new day, and I wanted to implement what I have learned in the class as well. So I started enrolling myself for the various courses. I wanted to upgrade myself professionally. I started doing various courses. Along with that, I started implementing same in my classroom as well. So thereby I also became more professionally sound. So this pandemic has really taught each and everyone many things. In this entire journey of pandemic, one thing that I have learned is that it is really very important to cooperate, communicate. If there is any problem, please communicate to your fellow teachers. Please ask for help if it is needed, the way I asked help when I was in need, the way other teachers asked me. There's nothing harm in asking for help and saying that I don't know. The problem will arise when you have stopped learning. Please keep learning. Please keep upgrading yourself. Even though now the pandemic has little bit ceased, okay, I still continue learning. I'm still enrolled for the courses, and I will continue doing those courses. So each teacher needs to keep upgrading themselves, their skills, their knowledge, their technicalities. They have to be sound technically as well. And technology here is to stay for a very long run. Future of future of education is definitely a blended learning, hybrid learning, wherein technology will definitely play a very important role. The way you deliver your lessons, your communication, set of instructions becomes very important factor. In fact, I remember I started writing articles as well, as in what I did to make my online sessions smooth, so that my online sessions are working smoothly. I started recording videos, my own session. And after my sessions were done, I used to listen to my own session very carefully. What happened? What was the problem over there? So, reflection is also very important as a teacher. I started reflecting on my own session. I heard my recorded session, recorded lectures again and over again. And this is how I tried to improve my each and every session. Now, today, I have grown professionally. So this pandemic has, given me a lot professionally. I'm a freelance trainer. I am a MISA facilitator. And trust me, I didn't realize I have this unless my fraternity, my teaching community told, okay, you can do this. So I really owe a lot to my teaching fraternity. They made me realize that, okay, you have this capability, then why not? And I really felt yes. And if this pandemic was not there, I would have never come across that I have this capability. I could have give so much to students. I can be online and yet continue my teaching learning process with it, yet communicate with the students so well. So yes, indeed, this pandemic has definitely taken a lot many things from us, but it has given also very important things. It has brought families together. There are parents who are working, who are not able to spend time with the parents. They started spending more time with the family members. Even I started having my family time. We all were occupied in my own world, busy life, and the Mumbaikers are like, they're running always on the time. We started getting family times. Okay, so this is how my pandemic journey was, and I have really enjoyed this journey, enjoyed this pandemic journey. I have evolved as a person, evolved as a teacher, and I have received a lot of accolades for my own self. I have received accolades from my teaching. I have also given my bit, whatever I can give to the teaching fraternity. So I'm really grateful to God for all these things. Today, when now I take online lectures, students know what ma'am is going on. They tell me, ma'am, my grade 1 students, ma'am, can I type that in the chat box? The same student which was not able to understand how to log in into the meeting and come into the lecture, same student today is able to log in into the meeting, write their names in the session, type their name. So this is what is the progress I have seen in my students. They have wonderfully evolved in this pandemic. Now, hopefully, soon the offline sessions will start. I'm very much hopeful about it. But this technology is here to stay, is a savior, and future of education is definitely a blended learning. This was a little bit about my journey in pandemic. I have really impetuously gained a lot of knowledge from my people. I have given a lot, and I really thank each and everyone who has contributed to whatever I am today. Each teacher is very unique in its own self. Every teacher has its own specialities. Please, my suggestion is, please upgrade. Please look what you can do. Teachers' mental health, teachers' physical health is also very important, which is also very great learning, which I've learned in this pandemic. It is very important that teachers involve themselves in some of the leisure activities. It is very important they have some me time. And it was very unfortunately from me to hear that some of the teachers' jobs were laid off in this pandemic. They were facing very harsh time. uh, it was a really very dreadful time for them. I'm thankful to God, at least me, I was safe, sound, healthy in this pandemic, and grow I can grow as a person, as a professional in this pandemic. So, teachers out there, every individual out there, never stop, don't quit, keep going, continue learning, upgrade yourself, upskill yourself. You can do it. It is you who can do it. You can do whatever it takes you to reach what you have decided in your life. Think big, aim big. I aim big for something, so now I am into different things. So please think for yourself as well. Upgrade yourself daily basis. Connect with the people, contact with the people, communicate with the people, collaborate with people. Okay, these 3 C's are going to stay here for a long period of time. On that note, SADAF RIZVI signing out. Thank you so much for listening me out. If anything, you can definitely contact me on my LinkedIn profile or my mail ID. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Sujata ma'am, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my experience, my pandemic journey with the people out there. I hope you can relate with me, you can resonate with me, and more power to you. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, everyone.